Hello my dear friends and welcome back to another Star Wars news update. If you're a fan of rapid fire updates, you're gonna love today's video because we have so much to get through. We're gonna be talking about the movies, the Acolyte, Andor Season 2, and even some Star Wars gaming. Before we dive into it my dear friends, if you've not done so already, please be sure to hit the big subscribe button down below and hit the bell to be alerted every time that I post a new video. But no more jibber jabber, let's dive straight into it. Today's main topic is pretty remarkable because this information was hidden in an article about an unrelated subject. But here we are. The title of James Mangold's upcoming Dawn of the Jedi era movie may have just been revealed. In a very small column in the most recent edition of SFX magazine, they were talking about the Acolyte, and on the right hand side in a tiny column on the page where they're talking about Jackie Lon, they talk about other upcoming projects. And it turns out Dawn of the Jedi is probably not the movie's title, but instead, they describe it as Jedi Prime. This has a very samurai feel to it. I know there are fans who are going to make Optimus Prime jokes about it. But this is a very strange and rather discreet fashion of revealing such a massive movie's title by such a big director. That being said, there is a caveat, and you're going to see what I'm talking about in just a moment. They say James Mangold's Jedi Prime is set thousands and thousands of years before the original trilogy, and I'm really excited to see what happens there. And that is from producer Simon Emanuel, who worked on Rogue One and Solo: A Star Wars Story as well. I'm kind of torn because I did like Dawn of the Jedi as a title which harkens back to the expanded universe, and it's also got a Planet of the Apes style epicness to the title, but Jedi Prime is also very cool too. Very straightforward, to the point, but both titles evoke it's about the first ever Jedi, establishing the first doctrine, the first rules, and what pre-institution Jedi look like. Simon Emanuel goes on to say this: I'm really excited to see what happens because backwards, forwards, and all the different places you can go is exciting. In April 2023, James Mangold took to the Star Wars Celebration stage in London and revealed he was working on an untitled Star Wars movie. But this is the second piece of good Star Wars news we've had in relation to this film. Because last month, it was revealed that Beau Willimon, who worked on Andor, is the co-writer. Lucasfilm have not yet set a date for this one, though there is a slot reserved for a Star Wars movie on December 17th, 2027. Given how the Rey movie and The Mandalorian and Grogu are releasing in 2026, 1 year later could be when Lucasfilm is eyeing this release. That being said, Jeff Snyder on the Hot Mic podcast mentioned yesterday how Mangold's film and the one led by Daisy Ridley could be swapping places.
What?
There is an ongoing joke called #RayDelay in relation to the way the Rey movie keeps getting pushed back, and, in this instance, it might apply. Whenever more news drops for this, we'll speak about it at the time. In other Star Wars movie news, Daisy Ridley, in a conversation with The Hollywood Reporter, says that she's hoping the new Jedi Order movie will see her reunite with Finn, John Boyega. When Daisy was asked if she wants him to be a part of it, she said this: "Absolutely, of course. It feels like we should. Yeah. I mean, in all fairness, what do they expect her to say? She's not gonna say no. Daisy, do you want to work with John Boyega again? No, screw that guy. She's not gonna say that, so of course she's gonna say yes." In other Star Wars updates, they've just revealed the name of May's twin sister in the Acolyte, Osha. This was revealed in the subtitles of the teaser trailer which released yesterday. Osha is the twin, which the Jedi think is May. Arjona, Bix, in Andor, has teased massive surprises coming in Season 2. 2025 is when we get our second season of the Tony Gilroy show, and she's saying it's going to be something very special indeed. And if you think you know how Bix's story ends, you're wrong. She said, quote, "I think Tony Gilroy's writing is so smart that wherever people think my character's journey is going to go, it's 10 times more complex than what you imagine. While Andor Season 1 was universally praised, Season 2 is twice as good." Tony Gilroy was praised for a multitude of reasons, being a bit more daring and not being afraid to show the more human side of characters in a galaxy that is so space opera and sci-fi, truly gave credence to the underdog nature of the early rebellion. Adria said this: "Throughout the second season, all of our characters evolve because there is so much time. There is a time jump between every couple of episodes, so you're gonna get to see 3 different versions of Bix. There's anger, there's hope, and there's even revenge. And we know, my dear friends, and massive spoiler warning, Bix is going to get revenge over Dr. Gorst. That was teased last year at Star Wars Celebration. And Arjona says her view of Cassian has changed. At the end of season 1, he rose to the occasion. He was her hero, her savior. So of course, she says, she has to lean in. Whether she's gonna die or become part of the Rebel Alliance is yet to be seen. But I'm quite convinced she is gonna survive. So where was she in Rogue One? Marva's speech was playing when Bix was recovering from torture. Both that and Cassian's heroic act, on top of what happened to Tim, gave her a true rebel heart. So I can't wait to see where her story goes next year. And I've got to say, with the character of Bix, the most memorable moment in the show happened to be a first for the Star Wars universe. And I think you guys know exactly the scene I'm referring to. I mean, granted, Rian Johnson thought he did the closest thing to a sensual moment in a Star Wars movie with a full Skype call, but Gilroy scoffed and said, "F it, we're going all the way with this." I mean, it's subtle, it's implied, it's off-screen, but it's still a first for the Star Wars universe. And oh boy, did that get people talking. Are we going to have another one of those moments? Is season 2 going to give us some more shocking aspects? Speaking to Rolling Stone, Gilroy said, "It'll be very different. The next 4 years are not about becoming a revolutionary. They're about learning to be a leader and how difficult it is to put the Alliance together, and what happens to people who were the original gangsters versus the establishment, and a lot of different other issues." He also teases heavy moments for the likes of Bix, Cassian, and Mon Mothma. He said, quote, "There are some really heavy things. I think the path is going to be very, very tough." One of the characters I'm very excited to see is Saw Gerrera. Forrest Whitaker was excellent in the first season as well as Rogue One, and recently said this: "What we see with Saw in the Andor show is post-traumatic stress, as well as what it does to you to make the compromises you have to make in war, pain and guilt and loss, and the emotional damage that happens when you do these things. He allows it to fuel his passion and anger. So much to look forward to when the show returns." And finally, there might be a Total War Star Wars video game coming soon. Creative Assembly is developing a Star Wars Total War game, it is claimed. Bespin Bulletin spoke about this as well, and according to the outlet's report, a total of 3 different Total War games are in development, and one of them is going to have the moniker of Star Wars. This is something gaming fans have been waiting for years. So, fingers crossed. The prospect of a strategy game set in the Star Wars universe is not a new one, with previous games like 2006's Empire at War and 2000's Force Commander have given it a try. But it's been a while since we've had a Star Wars RTS. But with that said, my dear friends, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, check out our Patreon with lots of cool content coming soon, and I'll see you in the next video. May the Force be with you, always.